folks. We moved inside, or shut the door so we can warm it up in here, and we're gonna cut this meat up, get it in the freezer bags, get it in the freezer, so we'll have some good eating later on. So Jim, where are we gonna start?
Well, Jason, I think we need to start with these hindquarters. We're gonna clean them up a little bit and get some of this second skin off of them and process some of them into steaks and some of them into some deer roast, and then I'm gonna show you the economic way to package them.
Okay.
And people don't have to spend a lot of money putting their deer away. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Let's do it.
What I'm gonna do here, Jason, I wanna clean this up, then I'm gonna bone this ham out.
Okay.
Get the bone totally out of it, okay? Let's do that first. All this exposed meat that's been in the air and where it's been hanging, we'll get all that off there. Now, if you wanted to, you could cook this whole thing at once in a metal pan with your seasoning stuff all together. Bake it, or you could grill it on a grill or put it in a smoker.
Right.
So you could leave it just like it is. But right now we want to cut it out and show people how to cut some steaks out of it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, first I'm going to split it right down the middle to get to that bone. You come around the edge of that bone right there. You see that bone right there? Mm-hmm. That's just one big solid bone. Let me turn it a little bit. Go all around that bone. You get that bone out of there. And now if a guy's using a meat saw processing, they may cut that bone up with the steaks, but most people don't have a meat saw. So we're gonna do it without the bone in it.
Okay.
We'll get a little more off that in a minute. Now we just got one big old solid piece of meat. Now, if you want to cook it as a big roast, you get some of that string that you get at the meat market at the store for baking. They're tied up, or you can just put it in a pan, put your seasoning, cook it like that.
Okay.
But right now, I want to get some of this stuff here off.
Now, would you get all that off if you're going to bake it whole like that?
Not all of it. Wouldn't have to. But if we're going to cut it up for some steaks on this one, we want to get some of this off.
Okay.
It ain't going to be able to get all of it off. And some of it's pretty tough. But that's what they call a second skin. It just make it have a lot better flavor if it's not on there. All right, let's take this big chunk out right here. Separate that. But we can take this piece right here.
So that'd make a pretty decent roast there, wouldn't it?
That would make a decent roast. Like if you want to put in a crock pot or something like that. We got a lot of little pieces here we can use for stewing meat. We'll save all them. Now, if we wanted to cut us some steaks, we just got a good steak there. There's another good steak. And then what we don't turn out as good steaks, we'll make grinding meat out of.
Okay.
Now this one here, we got a little bit on the tip. Just take that off.
Now, do you leave a lot of the sinew and second skin on there for when you're grinding?
No, we're gonna get as much of that off as we can.
Okay.
We want pure lean meat, we go to grinding.
Trim all that off.
Right. Let's get back to where we can find some more meat for steaks. Trim it up.
Now these steaks, you like to grill them? Is that mainly how you fix them?
That's how I'd cook them. Take some Italian dressing. That's nice, zesty Italian dressing. Pour on them, put them on the grill. Man, they're awesome. That's all it takes for seasoning on them. Now we're getting down to, we'll clean all this up for grinding meat.
Okay. Okay, so we've cut up the ham, and we've got some steaks, and we've got some stuff for hamburger or stew meat. And our next step's gonna be the back straps.
Right, we're gonna process them and show you ways to put them away and how to cut them up. And so let's do that.
Let's do it.
All right. First we'll start with this one. It kind of had all that shot residue and all that on it. So we probably just want to just cut and discard that. So we don't want none of that in our meat.
Right.
Look, make sure we're still clean. Right here, we've got a good clean loin now. We're gonna go back here and try to get some of this second skin off it. The cleaner it is, the better it is.
Better tasting, huh?
Yeah, it's a whole lot easier. When you're cooking it, it'll have a lot better taste. Let me cut it this way a minute. Good sharp knife, you can slide right under that.
Generally, what parts of the deer do people take home or want to eat?
This back strips, that hind quarter we cut up. That's number two things other than the two little tenderloins. A lot of people forget about them or they get tore up during the process of field dressing, but vital parts of these two in the back hind quarters are mostly
Okay.
good meat. Your best meat, let's put it that way. Let's get this thing slick as a whistle. This is a small deer. Most of the time your tenderloin's gonna be a lot thicker, and you, if you're gonna cook steak, usually it'll be twice this big around. When you go slicing steaks, you can make round steaks for breakfast steaks, for bread and up cooking in oil.
Right.
But what we'll probably do with this one, and you can still do that, even though they're small. Get this little bit of second skin off this one.
And these are really good with some eggs, I think.
Oh yeah. I can take one of them right there in the morning and cut me a breakfast steak off of it, and put some what I call Kentucky Kernel flour mix. You get at Kroger's, it's good seasoning in it. It just has an awesome flavor. Fry it in a little bit of olive oil and cook it, and then put it on like a Hungry Jack biscuit. You don't even have to bake real biscuits.
There you
And
go.
Hungry Jacks work just great. And it has a good taste, really good taste. What I like to do though, say it's just me and my wife, and we probably ain't gonna eat that much meat.
Right.
So I kind of figure how much we'd eat together in one serving a meal. That's where I'd cut this up. I'm probably just gonna cut this in half. I'd thaw that out for one cook and that for another.
Two meals right there.
Now you can put it in a pan like that, put a little oil on it, seasoning, brown sugar, and cover it up, bake it for about an hour on 350, and it's slice it up. Man, it's awesome.
All right.
Eat it with your dinner or breakfast, either one.
Back straps are done, hams are done. Moving to the shoulder.
Right, front shoulder. There's not a lot of good meat on the front shoulder. It's so tough and got so much of that stuff in it, but we're gonna try to bone it out enough where we can get some more grinding meat.
Okay.
Okay, for our burger. And the most part of the meat on this shoulder will be right here. Be a good chunk right in here. We want to cut that out first, because all that shoulder is just a big flat bone.
Okay.
Let's cut this piece off. We'll try to get some out of that. But right now, let's see what we can do with this piece right here. Let's take and try to skim some of that off there. Kind of split that, because there's a piece that running right down the middle of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Could that be a little steak right there? Not big enough.
It probably wouldn't be good as a steak.
Okay.
It's really tough, and it's hard to get all that stuff off. And by the time we do it, it'd be better if we add it with some regular meat and mix it up as a grinded meat.
Okay.
Most of your steaks you want to get off your hind quarters and your back strips.
Okay.
Let's just kind of cut that up and get us some deer chunks out of that. That's really nothing good there. Yeah, we want to show enough respect to this animal that we've harvested him. He's sacrificed himself for us, and that we're going to get as much and use as much as we can out of it.
Yeah.
Let's take our knife and cut on along there. Okay. See where that line is? We'll try to split that line so that way we can get to the good part of it. There's not a lot there that's gonna be tasty, let's put it that way. It looks good, like, man, that's a lot of meat, but it's got so much of that stuff in it, it won't be tasty.
Okay, folks, as you can see now, our meat is cut up and ready to be packaged. If you don't have a grinder, this could be the last step. Just go to packaging your deer. But we do have some stew meat or grinder meat here that we're gonna run through a grinder and go to another step. If you've got a friend that's got a grinder or you have one yourself, a hand grinder or electric, either one will do the trick. So you can even make sausage with this too. So we're gonna show you how to do the grinding step and then we're gonna go to the packaging. So Jim, I never run one of these before, so show me how to do it.
Okay, I'll try my best. This actually belongs to a friend of mine, and
there you go.
And I'm gonna have to borrow his because I hadn't got mine with me. But anyway, let's put some up in the top pan of it, so we'll have it there to drop in, so we don't burn it up. But it won't burn it up. It's just a screw in there, and it goes to a blade, and it pushes it through them little hose. Like,
okay.
We'll take it there's a little plastic rod right there. All right, go ahead and turn it on, Jason. Just kind of push them down in that right. And it's coming out the front end here. Pretty simple little job.
Yeah. So you take the stew meat or the chunks of meat that we couldn't use for anything else, and we run it through the grinder, and we have this product.
Right.
You said it needs to be as lean as we can. Trim off most of the second skin as you can.
Right. Get it as lean as it is, and it won't have that taste in it.
All right. So let's move to the last step, getting it in the freezer. We got our Ziploc bags, got them dated, and
right.
Use these for the backstraps first.
Right. Just make sure you get good freezer bags.
Okay.
Because the regular sandwich bags are not thick enough.
Right.
Okay. And we will make sure we don't get a freezer burn. All right. What we want to do, like I've got these cut up in small sections that I said would be a good serving for me and my wife. So I'm gonna put one in there like that and roll it around till it's down the bottom good and smooth. And then I'm gonna take and just roll it up like that right there. Get all the air out of it and just seal her up. Then I'll stack it in my freezer just like that right there.
All right, let's finish
works
those
really
up then. I know some people like to vacuum seal bags. You can use vacuum seal to seal this up even better.
Right. It just depends on if you want to spend a little money for a vacuum seal system, and it will keep longer with a vacuum seal.
Right.
Now, I know you was talking earlier, you've seen them with the new vacuum bags.
Ziploc vacuum bags, yeah.
I haven't seen them yet, but I'm curious to see how they work and check them out.
Yeah.
How
many steaks do you put?
I think I want to probably put maybe 3 in a bag together.
Okay.
And see if we can flatten them out a little bit. See, we got enough for one more bag there.
So you flatten them out this way or flatten them all toward the bottom?
I'm gonna try to stack them on top of each other so I don't think they're back strips and I know they're steaks like that right there. See?
Okay.
And we'll just fold them over like that, get some of the air out, and pull them together. They're
Fold
a little bigger.
up.
Right.
Now, here we've got a couple, part of the hams that we were going to turn into large roasts. We're going to use the gallon bags for those?
Right, now see, I like to take these just like them two right there together, and I'll put my stuff on them and bake them just like that, make me barbecue.
Yeah.
And in olive oil and stuff, but right now I'm gonna separate them out and put one at each side. That way I have them in the room in the bag for them. I don't think I could get them all in one bag, so I'm gonna make 2 bags out of it.
All right.
Especially if it was a bigger ham, I'd have to really go with 2 bags. If you're gonna have them in there for a pretty good time, you might go ahead and double bag them. That'll keep these like I'm gonna use these later in the fall. So if you would hand me 2 more of the big bags,
okay.
I'm gonna double bag these and make sure they don't get as easy chance of freezer burn.
So if you're gonna keep it in the freezer for, say, 2 or 3 months, double bag,
or close to a year,
5 or 6 months,
even a year.
A year,
double bag. Even over 4 or 5 months.
What's the shortest amount of time? It's 4 to 5 months.
Yeah, they won't freeze or burn into a couple of months or so. Like all this stuff, we're gonna eat pretty quick during the summer.
Right.
But we get down to these in the fall, and I'll have them for my deer roasting and stuff. When I'm gonna have a lot of people coming to eat barbecue and stuff, that's when I'll pull these out.
And then you got your
Then
hamburger.
our ground chili and stuff, we're gonna take and just fill a couple of these bags up. This stuff here is not gonna be in the freezer long because we're gonna be cooking chili pretty quick. So, because I love chili.
Oh yeah,
Okay?
as cold as it outside today, we're
Yeah,
gonna
this
need
is
some.
chilly weather, man. We're gonna eat that up pretty quick. I guess if you wanted to do burgers, and had your beef fat in there and everything, you could patty them out and put them on plastic or wax paper or something, make like patties and freeze them. You could do that too. I don't see no reason why you couldn't.
All right, folks, there it is. A to Z, processing your own deer from field to freezer. And Jim, I really appreciate you helping us out today. Thanks for all the volunteer work you do for the agency and all the help you give us. Maybe I'll have to come down here and let you show me how to cook some.
We're happy to, man. I'm ready to eat now.
All right. Folks, thanks for joining us for this edition of Tennessee's Wildcast, and have a good one.